I know it's been a minute, but I'm back. Former Devils goalie Keith Kinkaid accompanied me on today's episode. We talked about his tenure with the Devils, some of his favorite memories, and what he's been up to nowadays. There's a lot to talk about in today's episode alongside Keith Kinkaid. Buckle up, everybody.
You're Locked On Devils, your daily podcast on the New Jersey Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi, this is Bryce Salvador, and you're Locked On Devils with Trey Matthews.
Elliott scores! Oh, Steven stepped up, nailed it. Brodor's got the puck. What a shot. The Devils win the Stanley Cup.
Alrighty now, what is up, New Jersey? Welcome back to the Locked On Devils podcast here at the Locked On Network. I'm your host, college hockey play-by-play announcer, Devils Wire Pucks and Pitchforks, and also part-time credentialed media member, Trey Matthews. After being away on vacation for a few weeks, I have finally returned, and it's time to get back to work. For being patient with me, I have a great treat for y'all. Joining me on today's episode is a man who is currently ranked 6th all-time in wins among Devils netminders, played a big part in the team's playoff push in 2018, and has been a member of the Devils organization for many years, from the minors to the show. He has had previous stints with Montreal, Colorado, Boston, and yes, even New York. From Farmingville, New York, by way of Union College, it's Keith Kinkaid. Keith, this interview has been a long time coming, many months of planning it, but finally it is coming to fruition. First and foremost, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on this.
Awesome. We're glad to have you on. Now, growing up in Farmingville, New York, where did hockey begin for you?
It started at the local rink by me called the Rinks. And then I kind of moved to the Long Island Gulls and bounced around from there, from junior B back to Suffolk PAL, New York Bobcats, and then to the USHL and the NHL before college. So a few stops again, kind of like my career now.
Well, don't worry. We'll get into that. You played for the St. Louis Bandits in the Null and later committed to play for the Union Garnett Chargers. What was that process like of getting your name out there?
Yeah, I was getting a little bit of interest from college ever since the Bobcats to the Des Moines Buccaneers in the USHL, and then we had an unbelievable year, won the whole thing. I got MVP of the league in the NAHL, and had a couple offers, and Union seemed like the best spot to step in and start right away as a freshman.
What was your favorite memory from college?
I think we were ranked number one at one point. That was pretty cool. And then we made the tournament for the first time in school history. Unfortunately, lost in the first round, 2-0, I think it was, to the team that won it all, Duluth. But that was definitely a memorable year.
University of Minnesota, Duluth?
Yes. So
that's Chico Resch's alma mater. So I think he talked about it before. But just don't mean to bring up a sore subject. Just had to.
You're good.
Just had to make a Devils connection of some sorts.
That's 15 years ago, which is wild to think.
Yeah, we're both getting older. Now, after your sophomore year, you signed an entry-level contract with the Devils in 2011, and you did really well in your first season in the minors. Can you talk about your experience of trying to work your way up from the minors to the NHL?
Yeah, I figured, coming out of college, you could always go back to college. So I thought it was time to start my pro career, and it's a little eye-opening. A lot of those guys have been pro already. It's a different game. It's faster. It's quicker. It's people are stronger there. But it was definitely a good experience being close to Union too, in Albany. So I was kind of familiar with the area, and Lou Lamoriello signed me, so had to shave and cut the hair, and I'm very thankful for him being my first GM to kind of get you into the pro life, and you figure out what it takes to be a pro there.
I want to ask you about that a little bit. Let's veer off course just a little bit. What was Lou like as a general manager? Because a lot of people express their displeasure of his, I guess, rules, including having to cut down your hair, shave your beard, suit and tie all the time. Kind of reminds me of the policy that the Steinbrenner's established with the Yankees. Can you just describe that as a player?
Yeah, like I said, it was my first taste of pro, and you know, you kind of just got to follow his rules, and you don't want to make him upset. But he's a great guy. He's very loyal to his players. He goes to bat for his players. So getting that first few years under my belt with Lou as my GM, and then getting traded and bouncing around, you see the different I guess cultures and whatnot of every organization. But I have nothing but good things to say about Lou. I even got to do Islanders training camp, and I walked in one day and he was like, "Oh, you got to shave that if you want to be here." And it's just like that same old Lou. But he likes to run his his tight ship, and it's for a good cause.
Was there ever like a time where someone was like, you know what, I'm not going to shave, and I'm one of the best players on the team, so I guess we're both at an impasse? Did that ever come up, or is it just like, okay, we'll abide by the rules?
Yeah, that guy wouldn't be there the next day if he didn't abide by the rules. So I think everyone kind of knew Lou's rules, and it's for a good cause, like I said, and it'll go a long way to stay on this good side.
When I had Dano on this show a few years ago, he said that Lou was strict but fair. So I guess that's a similar experience that you had to go through with Lou. But it seems like people have nothing but positive things to say about him, and we'll see what's next for him. But anyway, getting back to your career. So after you signed your ELC, the NHL had a lockout in 2012. Did that make things a little more difficult for someone like you?
I'm not too sure, because I know a bunch of the NHL guys went overseas to go play, and I want to say we got Henry sent down at that point, so that helped our Albany team a little bit. But I think it was only my second year, so I didn't even know what the hell was going on, and just riding the waves of pro hockey. And as my career has gone, you see a lot more different waves and things that go on. So.
Going from the AHL to the NHL, what valuable lessons did you learn along the way, and who are some of your veterans and role models?
Yeah, obviously Marty was my role model. Marty Brodeur was my role model, and it was pretty cool signing with the Devils, and getting to back him up a few times, and then see him around the organization here and there. And then I guess when you get from the AHL to NHL, it's a different breed of players up there, and but it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of good experiences in the NHL, and you see them day by day how they take their approach to the game. So it's I've learned a lot of things from them.
Before we continue with today's discussion alongside Keith, let me tell you guys about Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. I've actually used Indeed before to get myself some play-by-play gigs. I use it to this very day. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support my show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. Okay, let's get back to today's discussion alongside Keith. Take it away. Growing up in Farmingville, New York, did you know anything about the Devils? Did you grow up a Devils fan, or were you more of a Rangers guy?
I was an Islanders guy.
Okay.
And that's the only tri-state area one I haven't been a part of. I got to put the jersey on last year, but no, I mean, I would always go to the Nassau Coliseum to see Brodeur start, and honestly, every time me and my dad went, I think the backup was starting. So, but got to see the Devils quite often. We'd watch them on TV, and obviously knew what they were all about.
So let's talk about like your big break, which is getting the chance to start in more NHL games after the Devils appeared in the 2012 Stanley Cup Final. It's safe to say they had a hard time repeating that success going into that offseason. They had 10 UFAs. They lost their captain, Zach Parise, to the Wild. Brodeur was close to the end of his career. when you got your chance to appear in more NHL games as years progressed, was there any added pressure to fill the shoes of Brodeur? Because it seemed to be you, Corey Schneider, and Mackenzie Blackwood entrusted to carry the torch.
Yeah, no one's gonna emulate Brodeur. My style is a little bit like him, but definitely not as accomplished as him. But no, I mean, you got to build a brand for yourself too, and a name for yourself. And I think that our little Stanley Cup playoff run that I had when I was, getting majority of the games, that was kind of one of my best years, and probably one of my favorite years of my career so far too.
For years, the Devils missed the playoffs from between the years of 2012 and 2018. You were putting up good numbers anytime you got the chance. You even represented Team USA at Worlds. How difficult was it to play on a rebuilding team despite putting up good numbers in both the AHL and the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, I think we still had some good players. We just couldn't mesh it together. We didn't have the depth, I guess, and that structure that we needed. I think we were losing a lot of close games too, and couldn't keep leads. But yeah, I mean, it's all part of the game. You look at Florida now; they're just deep, hard to play against, and skilled. So I think you'll see a lot more of NHL teams trying to build that for playoffs too.
So let's talk about the playoffs a little bit. 2018, Devils finally made it back to the playoffs. You led the team in wins. Taylor Hall became the first and only Devils player to win the Hart. What was that season like? How did it gel for everyone?
Yeah, I think we just got on a run, and Halsey was scoring at will, and Nico was a young buck back then, and he was trying to fill some big shoes, and I think everything just came together that season. And unfortunately, we lost to Tampa in 5 games, but I think that was probably one of my favorite years, and it was fun to kind of be the guy getting us to playoffs, and even get rested for the last game of the season to get ready for playoffs. I think that was really fun. We also had a good group of guys too, so luckily we went on a run, and I think we edged the Panthers out that year.
What was it like seeing Taylor Hall just play in front of you? And just once again, he is the only player in Devils history to win the Hart. Was that something that was talked about going into the season, of him possibly taking that huge leap? And what did you notice from in between the pipes when you weren't making those saves?
Yeah, I don't think we talked about that at the beginning, but he started off pretty hot and stayed. Like I said, he was scoring at will. Shots that weren't supposed to go in were just going in, and sometimes that happens. So it was great to see. He's a hell of a player. He's so talented, so skilled, and I think our team was doing all the right things too, back checking, getting back for us, for the goalies and the D-men, and we were just squeaking out those games to get those wins.
Who would you say was the unsung hero on that roster? Someone who was good, but probably didn't get the credit that they deserved.
I mean, maybe the decor a little bit. We had Andy Green. I want to say we had Ben Lovejoy that year. Some guys stepped up. We had Will Butcher at the time, and he was putting in a few goals and being steady back there. So I would say I think it was a whole team effort. Like, we had Halsey, but we had a bunch of guys contributing in different ways.
Aside from the playoffs, what was your favorite memory from that season?
I think it was against, I want to say, Toronto, when we clinched playoff berth. So that was I remember I've looked back on that on YouTube a little bit, and if you try to get amped for a game, so you kind of look at your old games and memorable moments. But I can remember that was a really memorable moment that season.
Now, you mentioned it. You guys lost in the first round in 5 to the Lightning. What happened, both from you as a player and just noticing maybe something from the Lightning? Like, what happened?
I mean, I think it was just, the Lightning was a good team. I think that, it was before they won their Stanley Cups, but they were, they finished first in the Eastern Conference that year, and they were deep. They had skill, and we fell behind two games to none in Tampa. I think we won the third game, but their offensive onslaught was you can only hold that off for a little bit.
Speaking of the Lightning, one of my colleagues, his name is Joseph Stanislaw, he wanted me to ask you, what was your thought process like when you stopped Steven Stamkos on that breakaway, and what was that feeling like after you just said, like, wait, did I just make that save?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think that was one of the first shots I've ever faced in the NHL, and you see Stamkos coming down. I still, look at that play too. I don't know what my stance was there, but he made that move, and I just stayed with him and got right back up, and that was a pretty cool experience, from the fans and for myself.
Now, a few players from that 2018 team still remain on the Devils, including Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, and Stefan Noesen. Hischier's the captain, one of the best two-way centers in the league. Jesper Bratt was named one of the top wingers by NHL Network. Noesen revived his career a few years ago, and he's often regarded as one of the best net front guys in the league. And it's funny, when Nace returned last offseason, he described Hischier and Bratter as young pups who have grown so much from many years ago. I don't know how closely you keep tabs with the Devils, but how does it feel seeing players like Hischier, Noesen, and Bratt just grow so much as players compared to when you were there in 2018?
Yeah, I mean, Bratter's always had the skill. I don't think he got the best opportunity back when he was a rookie, and coach was probably pretty hard on him. But you got to let him play and let him learn. And Nico, obviously, first round pick, and so skilled, like you said, one of the best two-way centers, and he does all the right things on and off the ice. And then obviously Nace, he's one of my best buddies, and very happy for him. He had that huge year in Chicago with the Chicago Wolves, revived his career, and like you said, one of the best net front guys. Very good with the stick around the net, and gets to those gritty areas. So I'm happy for all those guys, and I still root for the Devils to see some success there.
So, what was your favorite memory as a Devil? I know we talked about your favorite memory from the playoff run, but just your years in the organization, what sticks out?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a first win, right? I think I went to three shootouts in a row in my first three starts, and felt like it was never going to end. And that relief, getting the first, I think that was against Tampa too. First NHL win was awesome, and that I'll hold that close to my heart for the rest of my life. And then honestly, playing overseas, I think it was in Sweden, was pretty cool too. I think we played Edmonton to start the season over there, and that was an experience in itself.
Who was your some of your closest friends on while you were with the Devils? I know you talked about Nace. Was there any other people you were relatively close with?
Yeah, I think we had a pretty close group. Mirko Mueller, was pretty decently tight with Halsey. Nico was told him I put him under my wing when he was just a young buck, and I think we all got along pretty well. So and it was a revolving door a little bit for a couple of years, and just trying to find the right pieces to the right team, and I get along with pretty much everyone.
Now, the 2018-2019 season was your final year as a Devil. You had stints with other organizations. Respectfully, what was that feeling like from having stability with the Devils organization to now searching for a new home for a long period of time? What goes through that?
Yeah, it's obviously tough on your mental. So you just gotta trust the process, keep working hard off the ice, and hopefully things, continue to gel and find a new job somewhere. But it's also been, fun to, experience different places. It was awesome playing for New York as a New Yorker, and, seeing, getting traded to Colorado from Boston, that was fun to experience that too. But it's also takes a toll on you. But that's the way she goes sometimes, and you can't always be on one team.
Before we close out today's episode with Keith, let me tell you guys about Monarch Money because I want to see you guys save some money in your pocket. Most people can't name all financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving your money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you so you can link all accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I linked all my accounts to Monarch and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. Canceling those alone saved me money every month. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL. Okay, it's time to close out today's discussion alongside Keith Kinkaid. Take it away once again. You were recently with the Panthers ECHL affiliate, the Savannah Ghost Pirates. I was with the Everblades this past season. I was calling some games, and I got to see you guys a lot. And you guys finished 5th in the South Division. Unfortunately, missed the playoffs. But what was your experience like being in the Panthers organization and playing for the Ghost Pirates?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Savannah. That was probably one of my favorite spots. I'd never played in the South before, so that was nice to get some warm weather and not have to, brush your car off every morning with snow. And yeah, I mean, the arena in Savannah is probably would be top in the AHL, and the fans were crazy, and overall it was a great experience. And can't forget the golf.
It seems like a lot of hockey players love the golf in their free time. That every time I asked an Everblades player, what's your favorite thing to do outside of hockey? Pretty much all of them said golf. That's all they did. But I totally understand it. It's a great leisure sport if you would like it's kind of therapeutic in a way, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, it's great. I think we went fishing a few times too in our off time. It was just I'm searching for, I want to be happy where I am. And I was really happy with my Savannah experience.
Now, I want to ask you this. I recently shared with my audience that another former Devils player, John Gillies, he was also in the ECHL playing with the Orlando Solar Bears. And somebody asked, like, former NHL player, why is he playing in the ECHL? Why is he not like going overseas? And I want to ask you, like, was there ever a possibility of you playing overseas? And if so, what made you decide to stay in North America? Because the ECHL, you're still in the NHL pipeline in a sense, but it's not the NHL, and maybe the pay will be a little bit different. So just respectfully asking, can you provide that sort of perspective?
Yeah, I've tried to go overseas the past few years and hasn't really worked out. And then the year I had a few offers overseas. My wife was getting a green card, so I didn't really want to bring her out of the country, and that was a 2-year process and kind of miserable. So I didn't want to bring her out of the country once she gets her green card. So kind of just finding jobs in the U.S. or Canada because she's Canadian. So it was more of a stay-at-home feel instead of just up and going overseas.
Totally understand. All right. Final few questions. How's it going with the 3 Ice tournament? Everyone talks about the Big 3 basketball tournament, but people forget that hockey also has a summer league in a sense. The 3 Ice tournament, you're getting ready for the championship game, I believe. You're flying out on Wednesday. How's that experience been?
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's so fun. It's in Florida too, so you can't complain there. But no, it's a really fun league. I think they're really gaining traction this year, and I think they have a lot of surprises for next year too. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. And fortunately, our team is in the championship week, and hopefully we can do some damage.
Do you know Cam Johnson, Everblade's starting goalie?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys were in the running for, I think, best goalie in the league. There was a voting process on social media. I'm not sure who won it, but do you have a message for our buddy CJ in terms of best goalie in the tournament?
I mean, he's a great goalie. He wins everywhere he goes. I did get the pleasure to, experience him in the Devils organization a little bit. So he's a great guy, jokester, and really good at playing goalie. So I'll definitely see him this week and tell him he said hello.
Awesome. All right. Final question. What's next for you? Right now, you're an unrestricted free agent. Are there any talks of playing with another NHL organization or maybe some other ventures? What's next for Keith Kinkaid?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, prolong my career, play as long as you can, because once you stop, you can't go back. It's I don't want to lose that feeling. It's it is my life essentially. Hockey is my life, and we're just kind of patiently waiting. There's a lot of goalies out there, a lot of good goalies that are still unsigned, and we kind of just got to play it by ear and see what happens.
Awesome. Keith, thank you for taking the time to appear on my show, talk about your NHL career and what you've been up to nowadays. Where can my audience find you at?
Yeah, so I'm starting my goaltending academy in the next, started now, coming in next year for camps, and it's Blockade Goalie Academy on Instagram. So throw that out there. That helps.
Awesome. Like I do to close out every episode, continue to stay safe. Have a wonderful day, New Jersey. Go Devils. I will catch you guys next episode. Special thanks to my guest star, Keith. Thanks for listening once again.